Thank you for joining me today. AI Fundamentals with Emanuel Rose. We're going to go through some best practices and look at the best way to leverage these AI tools that are at our disposal, both for marketing and for business purposes. What you're going to learn today. Number one, my story with AI and how I've ended up at this point as being an implementer and a trainer of AI. We'll look at the benefits of AI first philosophy, understand why AI and what are the overall applications, some of these fundamental distinctions, and how we talk about AI currently, a number of use cases, hoping to trigger in your mind the idea about how you might implement these tools in your projects and business. Look at some of the current productivity tools, both for marketing and for business administration in general. We'll look at some high level prompt writing tips and techniques, and then look at how you may consider getting AI into your business. So in 2022, I started researching a book called Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, released it in early 2023. And right about the same time that ChatGPT was coming on as part of a mainstream AI product, or what I call the retail nature of AI. It's not new. AI has been around since the 50s, but we're just now getting it where it is accessible to all of us, even though we aren't necessarily computer programmers. And in order to stay current and up to date with what is going on with the changes of AI, I have a podcast called Marketing in the Age of AI, and I have interviewed 130 or more people from all over the world that are integral in developing AI tools, in deploying AI in marketing campaigns, and deploying AI in business in general. And continue to do about 5 or more podcast interviews every week and get to be on the forefront of what is happening in AI deployment. That gives me some free time in order to author children's books as well as business books and deploy and test AI tools in my agency called Strategic E-Marketing, and deploy AI tools on behalf of clients all over the country. Wes Stringfield fellow was a guest on the podcast, and he makes a claim that I can say is very valid, which is that Anthropic's Claude, which is one of the LLMs, is letting him leverage his time by as much as 20 times. And I will echo that, yes, that is something similar that I have experienced, even to the point where we can take 2 days of strategic planning notes and in about 15 minutes turn those into action items and summaries for the whole team to use, something that would normally take half a day or more to do. Dilip Dubé is a successful tech entrepreneur, and his experience has been that companies are able to double their profitability in 24 months or less. And that part of the process to make that happen is due to the CEO being what he calls an AI believer and working to implement AI across their organization. So why would you invest in AI? Number one, your competition is doing it. And so in order to stay competitive, you've got to do it as well. Number two, there's massive time savings for each of the individual roles on your executive team and likely in your middle management and even in your line roles. So you've got lots of time savings, which then allows your people to be focused on other more relationship or human creative activities. With AI, we can eliminate boring and repetitive tasks very simply now with low code or no code software, which makes us way more efficient. And then, like I said, we can reallocate our human resources to be involved in creating new products, projects that have always been on the back burner, or relationship building with each other and with clients and prospects. And that leads to the increased profitability that Dilip Dubé mentioned. So AI is reshaping all knowledge work, not just marketing, but all business operations, all business administration, legal, and of course, marketing, by streamlining our workflows and taking away repetitive, boring work. AI, or artificial intelligence, refers to the idea that the machine and the software are learning and able to also generate some potential ideas for copywriting or for reporting based on prompting that the humans are putting into it. An LLM, you probably have heard that. It is a type of an AI model that is trained on human data. For instance, it could be all the content on the internet up to 2021, which was where ChatGPT landed for us in 2023. But it also can be very specific pieces of information. And for instance, what a chatbot would use in order to either answer questions as a customer service agent or to translate a website. GPTs, or generative pre-trained transformer, is a series of LLMs that are connected and can answer complex questions. ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, Perplexity, Claude are all examples of a GPT. A custom GPT is something we should all have our eyes on, which is a business-specific GPT that is about one company that has the training, the documentation of a company for staff to call on, and it helps to speed up the process of communication, customer service, product design, and other areas of the business. Automation. So we go into automation, agents, and agentification. Automation is simply a task that normally would take a human to do. For instance, taking a person's first and last name and putting that in the search field in LinkedIn. That doesn't take artificial intelligence to do that. It's just an automation. And so that it would be like a tool like Zapier would be just a simple rules-based connector between two pieces of software. So that would be like Zapier or Make.com, which can follow you around as you're doing things, and you can train it while you're doing your work. An agent is when you're starting to use the LLMs in an automation so that, for instance, in my podcast, I have an agent that will go and take a person's name, do the research on LinkedIn, then come back and summarize their biography for me to read on the podcast. And then also will draft a list of 6 questions for me to start the podcast with based on a document from Otter that is the pre-podcast summary where the guest and I have decided on the theme for the show. So that is where we're involving the LLM is the agent. Things like relevance, run bear, and custom AI agents are offers for that kind of agent work. And these are typically right now no-code solutions. So with a little bit of training, just about anybody on your management team can start to put these together. And agentification is the part where the AI is starting to make some rational decisions based on the rules that you provide for it. And it's kind of the holy grail of what we're looking for from AI, which is when the sales process would be transacted by agent selling to another procurement agent. And then the humans would get together and sign the contracts and make sure everything's looking good. And Anthropic's MCP, or Model Context Protocol, is right now the closest thing that we have to that, but that is still in process. So when we're looking at AI, we want to look at how to correctly deploy AI in the business. And this is the first thing we need to have is a clear deliverable, making sure that the outcome is very clear. Like the podcast example that I gave you, I said, I don't want to do any more research on LinkedIn for my podcast guests. And I want to have questions that came up from our pre-meeting. So I have a theme and a bio to read for the episode. So AI first mentality with this type of deliverable. I'm always going to be in the middle, making sure that the software is delivering what I'm asking it to do. We're going to deploy, test, and implement that so that it's in action. And then we're going to compare the results that we're getting from it to our key performance indicators and then continue to improve the delivery system. Personal production is what I'm calling an individual executive leveraging AI tools in order to be more efficient and take away some of the boring parts of the jobs that we have running around between softwares. Again, we're going to keep that same mentality or philosophy of AI first and look for communication tools, both in our DMing softwares, whether that be Slack or LinkedIn DM, and in the email that we're using, so that there's recommended responses for consistent emails that we might get all the time, and we don't need to spend lots of time crafting specific answers. Really need to have all of our meetings recorded. So we've seen this proliferation of recording software for instance, for Zoom or Google Meet, where something like Otter or Avoma can be added. But you can also carry that on your smartphone. And so your in-person meetings can also be recorded, and you have a running transcription of the meetings that you have so that you have access to that for your agents. And then GPT resources where you're building consistent folders for content to be able to have agents call on those resources. So you're building a custom GPT for your own personal production. And then that you're going to start reviewing and implementing special purpose tools. For instance, for the podcast, we have a tool that will take a YouTube video of a podcast, create a transcript, and build social media clips and also short video clips from it. And that has sped up our podcast processing pretty dramatically. So as a professional, then we want to have those special purpose tools that speed up our processes so we can go on to more challenging creative projects. So the other section of this is the business efficiency and profitability side. And again, we need the CEO to be the AI believer or AI advocate, and to develop in the company a custom GPT that becomes the repository of knowledge for the company that the various departments can draw on, and even create their departmental GPTs within the company custom GPT. And then the next part would be looking at training a number of key executives or key managers on how to leverage these tools for personal production and for department efficiency, build in automations where it makes sense with Zapier, and start building in some agents into the administration processes. And then that you train an innovation team of people whose tasks it would be to take away what we talked about earlier, which were these tasks that are either boring, repetitive, or are not something that we enjoy doing as a company. So use cases. One use case, very clear and easy, we've all experienced this, is the chatbot on the website. And this can be, a chatbot can be deployed both for a customer service purpose, can also go customer service to sales process, and it can also be developed internally so that your whole team can interact with the chatbot in order to understand HR parameters or product knowledge. So the chatbot is a very useful tool and has a number of different applications. We have a product that's a real-time search lead. So as somebody searches for something on the internet, puts the lead's contact information on a CSV, and then the software takes that lead and it checks it against the do not call registry and ensures that the email address that is in that lead is deliverable. And then simultaneously, we send an email, we add that lead to a pay-per-click campaign, and we send that lead a welcome text. And so that's one of the cool things about these types of solutions is that we can do a lot of things simultaneously that be more challenging for a person to do. So we do that step, and then we add that lead to an email newsletter. So that's real-time search leads. In this use case, when somebody books a podcast, we direct research on the guest, and then we review the meeting notes in Otter, add and then create a Google Doc that then we'll also write the 6 questions. We add that copy to Google Doc, and then we find the calendar and attach that Google Doc to the calendar event, and then it's replaced about 15 minutes worth of work. It happens magically, and I get to those podcast interviews, and I have the information I need having been produced by the agent. Another fascinating innovation has been the voice AI, and we have a product called CollectEase, which is a accounts receivable phone calling bill collector. And so here's something classic situation where those phone calls are not always enjoyable for a staff person to make. So the AI does it every time with a good attitude and is able to make the phone call. Nobody answers, leave a voicemail, and then send payment link, which someone by text, which somebody can then go and make the payment. So it's a great use of AI. So how do we figure out where to deploy these tools? Number one, we can ask, what are we not good at? What are we not doing well? And maybe software could do it better. What do we not like doing? And maybe the department would prefer to offload it, and we can offload it to the software because it's tedious or monotonous. Where have we been unable to fill staff? And maybe we can deploy software in lieu of hiring another person. Again, what tasks are repetitive or overly time consuming? And then how can AI or automations improve our customer service or create customer service when we don't have anybody on staff? So we can become 24/7 with the use of a chatbot. And then what data or reports could be generated and automated instead of having to have people click around. So those are the process to identify it and then identify the use case. And then once the use case is identified, then we start to break down how to deploy the software. Number one, defining the objectives or the outcomes that we want to create, assessing the current process with a process map. So we carefully identify each step in that process so that then we can make sure that we're connecting it with either an automation or an agent, understand places where there's slow customer service or slow response times inside of our own processes, so we can speed it up with both automation and agentification, brainstorm what the solutions would look like, evaluate it and assess it, and then figure out if it's feasible, prioritize and select a process that needs to be solved, and then get into action to solve it. And go back through that process of AI first and that 6-step process as well. So these AI softwares, they run with human interaction. They called prompts. Some people call it prompt engineering. I have a book at Emanuelrose.com that is The Art of Prompt Writing. And very simply, we want to make sure that we designate a role for the computer. For me, I am often telling it that I want the GPT to act as a marketing genius or a marketing world-renowned expert so that it knows its role. The second part is the context. And so we're saying, and we're developing an email newsletter that will go to business leaders who are running small to mid-sized companies, their founders, their CEOs, or their managing partners. And I want these emails to identify for the recipient that need to implement AI immediately to stay competitive. So we have those basic prompts and then tell it what we're looking for. 3 email newsletters, please write those, or tell them what the work product is that you're looking to create. So let's talk about some of the tools that are at our disposal right now. Mentioned earlier, Otter.ai, Avalma, Fathom. These are the meeting transcribers and summarization tools. These become a document for the custom GPT as a professional and as a business so that we can stay on top of the meetings and the work that's happening in those meetings. Number two, we want to make sure that the GPTs that we access are as safe and secure as possible. Right now, the standard for most of us would be a tool that is SSL and is encrypted. That is the standard right now. There are some applications where you would need to have your GPT air gapped, so it's not talking to the internet at all, but that's for your IT department to figure out. So we want to understand that whatever we put in the GPT is potentially being accessed by other users. So nothing, no IP or things that you're not ready to release to the world should be put into those GPTs. Again, we have a number of GPTs to choose from: Chat, Perplexity, Claude. We also have deep research capabilities with Notebook from Google and Grok. And so when you're doing projects that require well-researched, well-noted data sources, and for instance, if you're doing market research or competitive research, then we want to use Notebook or Grok. The voice calling, I talked about to collect these. We also have the opportunity now for AI reception that sounds as crisp and clear and quick as human receptionists. And so oftentimes in a business, that's one of the more challenging roles to fill, and we can do it very easily now with AI. And then the other activity is building the custom GPT, and we've been deploying these for clients so that they're able to start the road to 2x profitability. So we look again, summarizing at the AI tools for personal production. Number one, you want to be an AI believer and take the AI first focus. Refining prompt writing and staying on top of good prompt writing technique. You're going to use an AI-based software like Perplexity and Notebook in just about all of the work product that you develop. Look to deploy standalone tools, collect these to take over parts of your job that are time consuming or that you don't like doing. And then building a custom GPT and automating some roles, some consultant roles, legal roles, some things like that, so that you can keep projects moving ahead quickly. For the business efficiency, again, you want the CEO to be the AI believer and AI first focus for the entire organization, to get a custom GPT started so that staff people have access to business information in everything they're creating. We want to train key staff to start developing a unit in the team that is an innovation expert, and then using voice AI for reception and freeing up people to be doing more creative tasks, looking at supporting the team and finding places to use automations and agents, and then looking to build custom solutions between the software and your tech stack that exists already. So we're going to have a clear deliverable. We're going to look at AI first, keep human in the loop. We're going to deploy, test, innovate, and then compare our results to our targeted KPIs. And that, my friends, is the current best practices of deploying AI, both for professional use, for business production. I hope you found this useful and helpful, and I'd love to have your comments sent to me at Emanuel@strategicemarketing.com. And I'd love to hear comments and questions. And I hope that you are able to find AI tools that help create more time for you to spend with your friends and family and spending some time outside in the natural world. Thanks for joining me.